For anyone waiting, the Lux review is coming out on Monday. And now back to your regularly scheduled programming. Hello and welcome to episode of the Trash Talk Podcast. I'm going to have Sergej. How do it?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing fine myself. And today,
Glad to hear that.
we're gonna learn about Sergej's apartment hunt and what he would do differently the next time.
Yeah, I guess you could title it that way.
I think the actual video title is going to be something like Sergej's Tips for Apartment Hunting or something, but
we'll figure something out. But yeah, as you might see, I am in a new space, all empty,
yeah,
blank walls.
there might be a bit of an echo
Yeah,
here and there.
might be. Yeah, I apologize for that. I tried placing as many cardboard boxes in this room as possible.
It's funny that there's a slight echo, which is funny because before when we were talking and we weren't recording, it wasn't as bad because you were just not speaking as loudly. I'm not saying we should speak more quietly because obviously we do have to get your voice picked up well, but
yeah,
it's kind of funny. Also, I don't think people could have necessarily
just call it
because,
ambient. You know?
Yeah.
It's called ambient.
Yeah.
It's the new home feeling, right?
I love that you were like, oh, as you can see, I have a new background. It's like, you went from one nondescript white wall to another nondescript white wall in your background. I don't think anyone could tell.
Maybe. Alright, fair enough. But yes, I have moved now, have my own place. And yeah, let me tell you a story how I got here, because it's actually been quite a long road, or at least taken quite a long time. I don't know if the road itself was long. So, yeah, I've been searching for an apartment since, around January. Because before then, it didn't really make sense, because I hadn't started my job yet, so most landlords would not even have looked at my applications anyway. So I had waited till I had my first pay receipt thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called in English, but like it basically confirms that, yeah, I am making money. This is how I made this month. Yeah, I basically started very soon after I got the first one. And the constraint I had was that I wanted to move somewhere close to where Alex is, which is like in a bigger city, more urban area. Lots of competition there for apartments. Not a lot of apartments that are for rent, like open for rent.
Yeah.
So it was a bit difficult to even like get people to respond to you at first. Because man, you'd be writing to like a dozen landlords and get no response.
Yeah.
Because like, even if you, I don't know, written to them like an hour after the ad was opened, you'd be like the 200th person to write to them for this posting.
Yeah.
So you just gotta be one of the very first. But also, one important thing I learned is that you shouldn't be too fast either. That's like the paradoxical thing. You gotta be like at least a couple minutes late, like, or well, a couple minutes after the ad went live. You shouldn't just like auto send as soon as you see the ad appear, because that means, and that tells to the landlord that you haven't actually even read or considered anything about the apartment.
Which I mean is fair. You should probably do that in general because you don't want to end up with a crap apartment.
Right? Yeah. But yeah, like I'm just saying that because I had tried that a couple times, and when I've spoken to some other landlords, like, yeah, they confirmed that they just filter it out. Like, they only look at applicants after like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that makes sense. It just sucks if you're like one of those people that just is like is very used to like how they're laid out, and is a very fast reader, and it just actually genuinely just takes you 2
Yeah.
minutes to read it, and you're like, no, this sounds perfect for me. And it's like, yeah, no, they're not responding.
Yeah. But yeah, another thing that I was very hesitant on getting is like those subscriptions on sites specifically for like apartment search and house search and whatever.
Yeah.
That get you like perks where they will put you at the top of the list of messages, or at least above others that are not paying
Yeah,
for it.
yeah,
And like I was super hesitant on it because it costs like $30 a month.
yeah.
Man, I don't want to spend $30 a month on that.
Well, granted, if it actually helps you get an apartment right away, that's just $30 once, which might be worth it.
Well, they do have like a minimum period you have to get it for. It's 3 months, at least
Okay.
on that side that I like
Yeah.
the most popular one in Germany, which well sucks.
It's one of those $90 is quite a bit, but
'Cause-
also if you can get a better apartment or a cheaper apartment because of that, it's basically gonna pay for itself,
or,
right?
or like even an apartment at all.
Fair. I don't know, have you
Yeah,
just
like
tried
it took
walking
me a
up to a
while
landlord,
to.
giving them a firm handshake?
Brew, how did I not think of that? Um,
Hey, the older generation swears, but they say it works every time.
brew. But no, it took me a while to like get into that headspace as well to like think, oh yeah, like man, of course, like spending $90 on like some weird subscription online, man, that sucks. But spending $90 to like speed up apartment search, well, that's worth it. And man, let me tell you, it is worth it. I got so many more responses with that.
I guess on some level,
It
I'm
is
assuming they can
actually,
see that you're like a premium subscriber or something, the
yeah,
landlords. So
yeah,
they probably also know that you're taking it seriously. Like, even if it is kind of silly
probably,
that you have to pay for it in the first place, I can see why, if I was renting out a place and I had like
yeah,
50 applicants and 10 of them literally paid to be seen, on the one hand, it seems a bit desperate. On the other hand, I can see, I was like, oh yeah, those people clearly have money that they can spend, right? Like this. Like, it's not just someone who's just
yeah,
like looking at apartments just for fun. Maybe they have an apartment, but they are looking if maybe they can get a better one. You know that, and then
hmm
if there's something that they're not happy with, they'll just jump off and be like, I don't really need this. Well, someone that like doesn't have a place right now, or is in like a temporary solution, like those people are going to be much more eager to jump on it, and it's going to be a lot easier of a process, probably.
yep. That might be one thing as well. But yeah, like even before then, um, I was looking for them like on Kleinanzeigen, which is basically like a Craigslist or
Yeah,
Facebook Marketplace thing. It's not just for apartments; it's just for basically anything and everything.
yeah.
And yeah, the quality of listings for apartments varies a lot. Like some don't even have a description, maybe like a photo or two, and some have like the most detailed description with like 30 photos,
Yeah, but
which is amazing.
oftentimes the ones that are like not well described are actually the ones, like, if you can, you should look into, where it's like if you can actually like, get a tour or something
Yeah.
before, like, obviously you don't sign on something like that, but
Oh yeah, of course.
oftentimes bad listings are actually great because not a lot of people will respond to those, so you oftentimes have an easier time. I
Exactly.
can't speak to like the house hunting side of things, but I've definitely had that on eBay before as well, when like if a bad listing, I mean the best part is always when they like misspell the thing you're selling, and because then obviously it's not going to
Yeah.
show up in the search that well, but you know, like there's oftentimes like the ones that are not as like well built out are oftentimes the ones that you have an easier time with.
Yep. I'm not too sure I agree with that because, like, yes, the logic makes sense. I also went for those, but I received like a lot fewer responses
I
from
mean,
those.
it's also the people that aren't even willing to put in the energy to like write a proper listing are probably not the ones that are the most conscientious about responding. I can see that.
Yeah.
It kind of goes both ways, but you have less competition, but you might also don't have the best
Hmm.
sellers. I mean, I guess maybe if you're looking for a landlord, that's maybe a bit more important as well. If they're like very minimum effort, that's probably not optimal. Not just for like getting the place, but also for like actually like if you have an issue and you have to phone up your landlord, be like, hey, like can you send someone to repair this or something? And it's like and they don't respond or like it takes forever. It's like, yeah, that sucks as well.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. But the best I actually had were people that put in like medium amount of effort. Like the description wasn't bad. It wasn't just like a couple lines, but it wasn't all that detailed either.
Yeah.
Just like some basic things and like a couple probably bad photos. Um, those I actually had most responses from.
Yeah. Also,
Like
bad photos
the
is
best interactions when I like actually went on to like view the apartment in
yeah.
person.
It's also just like regular people that have like an extra house maybe that they rent out rather than like those like big professional corporate landlords that
Yeah.
are generally just like not that great. Like they usually like they're very like profit oriented, of course. Whereas if someone just like gets a place
Hmm.
to rent out or like rents out an extra apartment in their building, like those people oftentimes are just happy if they're making a profit at all, and if you're not making them any trouble, and then that's oftentimes those
Exactly.
arrangements can be better for you as a tenant as well.
Hmm. Like another interesting thing I found is that like for like those people that tend to, well, as you described, like make better descriptions, put in more effort, that they see it usually more as like a profit thing, where like they are more interested that you actually can prove that you can pay for the
Yeah,
apartment in the future. And those that put in more medium effort usually are looking for like that the person itself is kind of chill,
yeah.
but they won't cause trouble.
Although I guess with that you probably have a tougher time as well, right?
At first, yes. Like I kind of struggled. As you might know, I'm not the most sociable person.
Not even that. I was just like, you don't have a German name. Like
Oh yes.
that,
Oh
unironically,
yeah,
is like
man.
a thing.
Yes, yes, yes. I believe like half of the not responding people were because of my name.
Which I
Man.
don't know how that
Oh
works. If
well,
you like
that
set your
happens.
profile name to somewhere German, and then like when you when it comes to signing, it's different. I don't know how that plays out, but like,
Probably not well.
but like because I know that I mean obviously it's not too surprising, but I also know that from one of the guys who works for my dad, he is of Turkish descent,
Hmm.
right? And so he was like, oh yeah, like apartment hunting, like very difficult. And then so he always had
Yeah.
his German girlfriend, like call out places because they were moving it together anyways, right? And she had a lot more
Yeah.
success. And like again, not super surprising, but I mean obviously it's not good that
Yes.
it is that way, but yeah,
Hmm.
that is a thing. So I feel like
Yep.
especially the people that are more about personality might also be the one that would take more issue, not because they're necessarily more racist, but because the ones that are just caring about profit is like, okay, like I don't care who you are as long as you can pay, it's fine, right? And so I can see
Hmm.
how that could, in some ways, be beneficial. Maybe I'm just spitballing here, right? You are the one with all the first-hand experience. I'm just
Probably.
saying things.
Probably. I mean, it sounds about right. Um. Yeah. Where was I?
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you.
No, no. It's
Uh,
fine.
the last thing you said was that people with medium amount of effort were more looking for people, whereas the ones with high effort were looking for money.
Right. So yeah. Which is why you have to like change up how you like what you write to them as like your first message.
Oh yeah,
Like you, I would say you always have to like be just generally polite. Just use like slightly formal language, maybe not strictly formal, but like you know what I mean, right?
yeah. I struggle with that every time. I have to like I have to write to someone for the first time. You know, you have to write to a professor that like because you want them to do something for you. It's like oh, like, I want to write my
Yeah.
bachelor's thesis with you, and it's like, ooh, how do I best write this so they don't, like, immediately ignore me? Which, by the way, yeah, I think I only actually emailed one of them, and he just almost
Mhm.
ignored. And then I actually, like, figured out a way to, like, get to talk to someone in person, and that immediately worked. So, sometimes the
Yes.
talking in person thing actually does work, but again, that's a bit of a lower stake situation than, like, renting a house. I'm not saying
If
that.
you can, you definitely should try to talk to someone in person or on the phone even.
Yeah,
It's so much easier, so much more chill.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, like most of them that I saw didn't even have like a phone number or anything, or
I mean,
like
of
even a
course,
specific address listed. Most just state like the city the apartment is in,
yeah. I mean,
and that's it.
of course, if you're saying like they're getting like dozens, if not hundreds, of responses in the first hour, then I can see why they wouldn't want to put a phone
Yeah,
number, right?
makes sense, right? um, but yeah, so for the message, just like generally be polite, slightly formal, maybe not too formal. At least not if it's like a private person.
Yeah,
Like if it's a corporation, sure, go full formal. That might probably be better for them. Uh, yeah, very important. Address them by their name. I know it sounds dumb and obvious,
yeah,
but that is huge because most people don't.
yeah. Because
Um,
then they, if you don't, then they think it's just copy pasted. It's you send the same thing to everyone. Whereas if you at least put in the name,
exactly.
you at least read the thing at least a little bit, right? You at least like paying some amount of attention.
Yep, exactly. And then maybe try to parrot like one or two things from the listing itself. Like say like, oh, I'm specifically interested in this apartment because of,
Yeah,
and then like list one of the things.
like,
Like, oh yeah, it's in because it's in this city, which is close to like this other city that I actually am interested in. Stuff like that. Like
yeah.
even if it's just that, like
Again,
that
the
helps
less
a
like a
ton.
template it looks, the better it's gonna play, generally speaking. But
Yep.
also, you probably
Even
want to
if it
more or less follow a
actually is a
template.
template,
Yeah, but like
right?
that's the thing, right? Like you want it to not sound like you're sending the same thing to everyone, but at the same time, you probably do want to have like a vague template because there's probably going to be a
Hmm.
certain structure that works best, and it's that thing that I
Yep.
feel like it's where said like, oh, be professional, but not like too professional. Like have a template, but like
Yes.
don't make it look like it's a template. It's like it's always that thing,
So,
right?
right. So, what I did at the beginning was I just like had the listing and like a couple pointers of like what I personally was looking for to ChatGPT and like let that spit out a response for me. Maybe adjusted like a sentence or two slightly to make it sound more akin to what I personally would write. But yeah, that was basically what I did. Uh, like it helped me
Yeah.
get more responses, but like the responses still weren't great.
That reminds me of this whole
Um,
thing where people are like, "Oh yeah, like if you have to write a lot of emails for work, you just like put in the bullet points, have ChatGPT write the actual email, and the person on the other end that gets the email is like, oh god, this is a long email, puts it into ChatGPT to condense it onto the bullet points again."
yeah. Well, so luckily I didn't make it write too long things because, well, yeah, it's just like a person on the other end. Uh, they're not gonna spend like a long time reading it. Just condense it down to like one, two, maybe three very short paragraphs that you can still see like on one screen on the phone. Um,
That doesn't mean anything to me, but I think you know that.
right,
No, it's
right.
fine.
You're
I'm not
one of
actively looking
the
for apartments right now. You don't have to like.
yeah, right. You're like one of the handful of people in the world that still doesn't have a smartphone.
Technically. Yeah.
Adjust glasses.
The problem is I can't do that very well because I already wear my glasses right close to my face. Like some people, if you wear a glass like
Mm.
this, obviously you couldn't like do this very well. But if I want to do it, I always have to like pull them down and then
Hmm.
actually because I already like yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
I'm derailing you more than
After
necessary.
No, it's fine. You're adding more variety to this.
Yeah,
So yeah, like it's after I don't know, like a dozen, 2 dozen times I did that, like I noticed like a general pattern that like ChatGPT started like used
yeah,
most of the time. Like I kind of combined a lot of the responses that I had saved from ChatGPT into one, make like a basic template. You can just like switch out a couple parts.
yeah.
Yeah, to like quickly run it down, it was like just a greeting, then a sentence of like, oh hey, I'm very interested in this apartment because I'm like, oh yeah, it's close to the city, or oh yeah, it has a bunch of uh, like hiking trails nearby, which I enjoy, and like basic stuff like that. After that, the paragraph of introducing myself, saying my job, uh, not really my hobbies, but like just about me, like my name. Um, for some, actually, how much I make a month, roughly,
Yeah.
like in what ballpark it is, since like it feels weird stating that like in a self introduction, but
Yeah, but like they need to know
landlords
that you don't just make enough
exactly
money to pay for the rent, but also you make enough money to pay for the rent and food and clothing and gas, right? Like you don't want to
exactly
rent
like,
out your apartment to someone
and you still have stuff over to
who makes
like
like
save. Yeah,
120% of what the rent costs. You want to sell someone that makes like 3 times as much, right? That's yeah.
yeah. Like it felt super weird. It still feels super weird, but like if the person asks for that, um, just write it there. Actually, kind of forgot what else I put in there since it's been a while. I can look it up though,
Yeah.
real
Um,
quick, since I still have the messages.
yeah, I think there's also a great use case for something like ChatGPT, as you said, where people always point out that it just writes whatever is very common to write, and when you're actually like looking for information, it's not necessarily great because it could just find a set of words that are like commonly associated. But this is like you want it to sound the normal way that something like this is written. So actually, if you want to like adjust your form of something to be typical for,
Hmm.
I didn't take it forward. I was just mostly by trying to buy time. But if you want to actually like emulate the form of something, and actually that's probably one of the better use cases because if you don't know how to write something like that, and like, I want to write a job application,
Yep,
I want to write, like, I want to buy an apartment, right? Here is what I'm looking for, here are my qualifications, and please format it to me like other people would. I think that actually makes a lot of sense.
exactly. Yes. Yeah, that's kind of how I ended up using ChatGPT, but that was not my intention at first. It just kind of happened to work out that way.
You know, it makes sense, right? Because a lot of these things have sort of a set format, if you will. Like, there's a certain way you are supposed to write it, and so if you don't know what that is,
Yep.
then it makes sense that you would get it from someone else.
Yes. I forgot one thing. The first paragraph is actually two short sentences. First, like I'm interested in this apartment because of reasons, and the second, just like a very short one, just asking, oh yeah, can we arrange a like apartment viewing
Okay, yeah,
sometime? Um, and then the second one being like the self introduction, like I state my job, I state that I'm secure in my job, that like it's not a time thing,
yeah,
that it's like a uh, yeah, I guess that's enough. That I don't smoke, don't have any pets,
yeah. I was waiting for that. Like, no smoking, no
and
pets. Yeah, that.
yeah,
I wonder how
kind
long
of
it's going to
forgot
take
about them
until you
because
don't have
they're
to put no
so
smoking
common.
anymore. Because I feel like smoking is becoming more rare.
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't even considered that, but
No,
yeah.
I mean, I
Okay,
think it
I
is at
just
this point
put it
still
there.
good to put.
Most are still asking, yes,
Yeah,
yes. And then I don't know too much about the success of that. I just also put in that I'm just like generally like a quieter and like nice person.
I swear I'm a good person.
Yeah, it sounds so cringe, but I guess it works.
I don't play any instruments. Like, yeah, no,
That is actually one I heard a couple times as well. Like one or two listings asked if you play instruments or not.
because it's the most
Like they
obvious
want
way
to
you're gonna
know
make
that.
noise, right?
Yeah.
Like just always go like, oh, I play the drums. They're gonna love it.
Yeah, but I did not put that in my self-introduction.
Fair enough. I'm not sure like how
Um,
obvious it is, but when you said you're a quiet person, I was like, yeah, but like that doesn't really mean much of anything. But when you say like, oh, I don't play any instruments, that is like the kind of thing where it's like, oh yeah, this like the most obvious noise source is out. I mean, after pets, but again, we always had no pets, so
yeah. I mean, some people also just like talk loudly, like you might know from yourself.
I was gonna. I don't know anyone like that.
And yeah, like there's lots of ways you can be loud with not playing instruments
Yeah, it just feels like the first thing that comes to
or
mind.
pets. Yeah. And then like the third paragraph being like, oh yeah, I can provide like all these documents proving my claims if you want to see them.
Yeah,
And then just like uh like phrase to like man, I forgot the words in English. Sincerely, full name, stuff like
yeah.
that. Like, but yeah, uh, basically that you would be happy to receive a response and like,
Yeah, just like basic
yeah,
formalities. Yeah,
basic stuff. Yeah, basic stuff. So super short, packed with information, and importantly, shows that you have actually read the listing.
yeah,
Like everything except the first paragraph, like even the first sentence there, reading in the first sentence in the first paragraph is just copy paste.
yeah. I mean, obviously, a lot of the things are gonna stay the same no matter what the listing is, so it makes sense.
Exactly. Like self introduction, always the same, except like if they ask for how much I make, I
Yeah,
just add that onto the
yeah. I was just thinking,
um,
another way you could like somewhat more indirectly say that you're a quiet person would be to say that you're an avid reader. It's like literally the quietest hobby you could possibly have, which also is true.
which is true. Yeah.
I'm not saying you should have actually put that, but
Oh,
I was just like, somehow my mind is still stuck on that one point for some reason.
honestly, it might work. Like, I've read some people suggest putting in like a couple hobbies in there that you do. Um, then I've also read some landlords online say that like they just really don't care.
Yeah, it's like they don't really care who you are. Like they don't need to find you like a nice person necessarily, but some would maybe care that you're not very loud. So like saying that you have a very quiet hobby,
Yeah,
like might indirectly make sense as long as they're not like already like, oh, he's going his hobby, so skip, like just like skipping over it anyways. In as far as you can, like, but like
yeah,
skimming the text, like I don't know.
and like I guess most of these things apply specifically to more urban areas where there's like lots of competition. In
Yeah,
rural places where there's only a couple people applying anyway, like you can probably be a lot more lenient with everything. Like, don't have to formulate stuff
I mean, in
all
rural
that
places,
well.
it's a thing where your aunt went to school with a cousin of the person renting it out, and so you actually just like get an introduction that way.
Probably anyway, right?
I mean,
Yeah,
if you're actually from the area, but that's not even necessarily a joke, right? Like this is actually a thing. Like if you like
yeah,
have some indirect connection to those people, oftentimes that can be exploited as well.
yep. And like for all intents and purposes, go do that. it will lead to more success.
Yeah, which always sucks, of course, for the people that are moving like across the country or something. But it's like, yeah, I don't know anyone here.
Yep. But even then, like you still have more success in more rural areas. I also noticed that when I was applying to apartments that were like further from the city, that there the response rates were like much higher
Yeah,
since there was less competition.
yeah, I'm pretty sure if you're looking
Yeah.
for like an apartment in rural area, as long as there are a couple that are like open listings, it's probably fairly easy because there aren't a ton of
Mm,
people moving to rural areas, so it's usually not going to be that competitive. Like just speaking
exactly.
from my own experiences, I mean, I'm not much like you. I'm not particularly that much of a people person, but like most of our like entire neighborhood has been the same people, right? I know
Mm,
I only distinctly know of like one or two people that have in the last couple of years like moved in and out of place. Now, granted, most of them I think are actually like houses. I don't think there's a lot of people place being. I mean, not just houses, but a lot of them aren't rented necessarily. They're like owned, so that's a bit of a different situation as well. I don't know. I don't know if we have any places in the street that are actually for rent. Interesting question. A lot
mm.
of home ownership around here, which is obviously not quite the same thing. But yeah, no also obviously inherently less turnover. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, you
Oh
don't.
yeah, and another thing that I just remembered, like if you do get a response, if you do get like a like time slot to visit the apartment with the landlord, um, make yourself seem as capable of like handiwork as possible.
I'm just
That
imagining you
is
showing up in blue overalls.
okay. Maybe don't overdo it like that. Okay. Like look at the faucets, look at the pipes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like that is like from what I've heard, like that is such a positive thing for landlords.
yeah, because they don't want to have
It's
to like send in someone every time like you have got a leaky pipe. It's like just take a wrench
yeah,
and like tighten the thing. It's like
exactly.
I'm not sure that it's like actually
Then you can
you probably have to like actually like replace like a ring in there or something. But like yeah, I get
could be like it shows that you could like if it's something small, you could do it yourself
yeah
easily. You won't bother them. Um, and yeah, like maybe if you are like a lawyer or stuff, maybe don't try to mention that too often. Those are, from what I've heard, less liked by landlords.
yeah I can see why. Well,
Or
technically, I
yeah,
have the legal entitlement to. It's like shut up, no one cares. Like yeah, I get why.
exactly.
Knowing your
Um,
rights is maybe something that is useful, but maybe not something you should advertise.
hmm yeah.
That's the side that you bring out once you're like signed in,
Mm-hmm.
signed in, they can't do anything about it. Then you bring out all of the like, well, technically this is up to code, and you have to pay for that, and I'm entitled to
Mm-hmm.
this, and yeah, that
Like, and like if you do find something that you don't like, just like I guess like just normal human decency. Don't mention it in a snarky way. Just like, oh yeah, like, that's kind of not how I
mm,
would have liked it to see or whatever. But no problem, we can fix it.
yeah.
Take a bit of time, whatever.
Depending on what it is, you can also just like phrase this question like, oh, is it always like that? That kind of a thing where it's like, oh yeah, is this how?
Yeah,
Because then like it's not inherently like combative, but
yeah.
it's like, oh, you this stood out to me. Um,
Mhm. But
yeah,
even then, I would still follow up that it's not really a huge deal.
unless it is.
Unless it is, yes. But like
Yeah,
even if it is, maybe still.
yeah. It's the kind of thing where
Take,
like either we're gonna have to change it or I'm not gonna move in. Then you kind of have to say that because obviously
yeah.
you're not gonna sign the thing. Like, ah, maybe if we could change that, and then they don't, and it's like, oh, this is not how I want to live here.
I'm not saying like be completely passive, as in like, oh yeah, maybe you could change that, but like, oh yeah, that is like a problem, but like no real issue. We can change that
Yeah.
later, or like stuff like that. Like that you are willing to maybe even fix it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like be as little of a headache to the landlord as possible.
Yeah.
Common sense, but yeah,
Yeah, common sense not as common as you
apparently
might
not
think.
quite. Yeah, exactly. I've heard a couple landlords that I did talk to then mention like how many uh, people just like message them with like completely broken English, broken German, broken grammar, barely even talking about anything that the
Yeah.
listing has, and yeah, so
Which probably is another thing that increases the reason why they might not be so keen on getting people with foreign names. Uh,
could be.
because it is generally those people, right? It's not like someone who sounds like
Oh,
they would be very German and
mostly
suddenly is not
yes.
very good at German because most people that have German sounding names are German or Austrian. But
Uh, yeah, it's more okay. So maybe I phrased it a bit wrongly, but like it's that yes, that like the person just doesn't know German all that well, but also a lot of cases where people were just like sloppy, just like
oh,
typos and like not putting punctuation,
okay, that
no
yeah.
capitalization, that
No,
kind of stuff.
when you said broken German, I was thinking immediately like a really bad dialect.
Yeah,
Like everyone's favorite like Chinese eBay listings and that sort of thing, where it's just like it's literally just been run through a translator, and they're getting better, but like
yeah,
Chinese to German is still rough. Like English German is usually fine, but like yeah, machine translation is
yeah.
not always the end all be all. Uh,
Although like things like ChatGPT are getting kind of good at translating.
hmm.
It's actually kind of surprising.
Yeah, no, I mean,
If I want to translate something from one of those kind of languages, like Chinese, Japanese,
yeah,
into English, I tend to go for LLMs more than actual translators because they are just, in a lot of cases, more natural sounding and like from what
yeah.
I've heard from like uh, speakers of both languages, more accurate
I mean,
often as well.
natural sounding makes sense, right? That's the whole thing. It's making generating natural sounding
Yeah.
text. It is weird though that the translators are lagging behind because it feels like it should be possible to just. I'm not like actually putting LLM in your translator, but like to like leverage whatever is causing it to be better at that. I guess maybe it is just a large amount of language. In which case it's not entirely one, but like to
Yeah.
like adapt it into a purely translating context. It seems like it should be in some way doable.
It's I'm not sure because like LLM is just like it's that good because of
Yeah,
like it has a lot of context
fair enough. But
in a lot of
at
languages.
this point, you would expect at least big companies like Google to maybe try to just have an LLM that is specialized in translation for the translators rather than their. I mean, it's already machine learning anyways, right? It's not like they've gone away from translating word by word a long time ago. So
Hmm.
it's machine learning anyways. They might as well. And it's probably more computationally expensive, which is maybe the reason why. Because computationally expensive also on larger scales also means actually more expensive in terms of like power and infrastructure and cooling and
Yeah.
um. But it seems like then again, product quality has never been the highest priority. Uh, because big companies, as we mentioned, are always about profit.
Hmm. Yeah. No clue, but also not really the topic right now.
Yeah, sorry,
I also don't really have anything more to say. I kind of exhausted everything I had.
I guess that brings us to our facts of the week then. And it's still your turn. What is your
Yes, it
fact of the
does.
week?
Bro, let me pull it up real quick. Um, so, did you know that there are more hydrogen atoms in a single molecule of water than there are in stars in the entire solar system?
Oh yeah, no, that is true. Yeah, yeah, that is true.
Yep.
I,
So that is not my actual fact of the week.
yeah, no,
That
the
is a
weird thing
joke
is,
I wanted to do last time.
I was still stuck on the hydrogen in a water molecule. I was like, that's just two. And he said, then there are stars, and then I'm like, that can't be right. And then he says, all of a sudden, and it took me way too long because I was still stuck on the first part to actually like parse it. It says solar system. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those when you either don't know exactly what that terminology means, or you're just not paying close enough attention. It just sounds like one of those facts that people throw out, but it actually is like kind of stupid.
Yep. That's the joke I wanted to do last time but forgot. If you remember that. But yeah, my actual fact of the week is about Ryukan, which I probably pronounced it completely wrong, but it's a city in Norway. And what's special about it is that it's the city that receives the least amount of direct sunlight in a year. Not talking about sunlight measured by like how cloudy the city is, like how many days or hours it has where it's like not cloudy, where it's like actual sunshine.
Is it about
But
angle
no,
of
it's like
incidence?
angle of incidence. Yes.
Yeah, where it's just like
Um,
because it's so far out, it like is sort of on the edge of the light cone, if you will.
that yes, but there's many towns further north than that.
Okay.
It's because it's so far north, and because it's like in a valley between two
Yeah, that
mountains.
was the other thing I was thinking when you said there are other towns north. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Basically, it receives no direct sunlight, no matter the weather, between March. Wait, oh wait,
Surely
sorry.
March is the end date, not the start date of that. Because surely you got to tell me all
Yeah,
winter, not all summer.
yes. I think it was September to March.
That sounds about right.
It, yes.
And
Does not get any direct sunlight between September and March.
can I ask one more follow-up question?
It, yes.
Is this on the mainland?
I think it is. It looks like it is.
Because obviously, like if you think like very far north and Norway, then you think it's Svalbard, which is like an island. It's quite a bit north of the Norwegian mainland. I don't know if there are smaller islands as well, but that's my first thought. But I mean, as you said, our cities are further north, so it might not be. But
Let me punch. Oh,
yeah,
damn, it's about on the same what is it, latitude as Stockholm or Oslo.
oh, okay, that's very far south.
Actually,
As
not
far as
all
Norway is
that far
concerned.
north. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
huh?
It's like probably in the bottom 20% of Norway.
Yeah,
The south 20% of Norway. Yeah.
that actually just makes it more fascinating as a fact.
Yep. And it gets so little light that they actually had like a kind of I think art thingy installation where like they had a bunch of mirrors placed on one of the mountains to redirect sunlight into the city square. Like the mirrors track where the sun is and like
Oh,
always pointed to the city square.
fair enough.
Kind of cool.
Now I'm just waiting for people to like
But
lay down City Square to go suntanning. It's
Th-
probably a
There's
terrible
like
idea because
a bunch of
we're talking about September to March, and we're talking Norway, so it's
yeah,
probably
it's probably
cold.
very cold. Yeah, but yeah, there's like tons of pictures of people just standing in this like square of sunlight, like this fully dark city.
Actually, you could use the mirrors to focus more light in there. You could probably actually make a thing where like the town square is like actually like constantly like fairly warm even during the winter. That should be technologically possible as long as it's not cloudy.
Could be, but also like during the winter, there's like also just less light, less hours of light
Yeah, yeah,
that you get
of
even on
course.
the mountains.
But like as long as there is sunlight that can be reflected, you would think that they could use it to heat as well, because I mean there was a problem where I think it was London where a skyscraper was melting car tires if you parked in front of the building. They had to like change the angles of some of the windows just so that it wouldn't keep happening.
Hilarious. But yeah, there's in terms of weather, there's many more cities around the world that receive less sunlight because it's always cloudy.
London?
London, yeah.
I mean, that's sort of a joke, but also there are actually like places in the UK that really don't get a lot of. I think there are actually places in the UK, not even London necessarily, but that have like actual records for like amount of rain. And obviously, when it's raining, it's usually not sunny.
Yeah. Apparently, Cologne is also like relatively up high on that list of places that don't receive all that much sunlight.
I think I've mostly been there in summer,
which I didn't know about.
When it was good weather.
Yeah.
So
same. It sounds dubious, but I don't know.
No, but it was one of those things, right? When you like, unless there was a specific reason to go there, and even then, a lot of events are still in times when there would be better weather. You're just going, if you're spontaneously going there, you're going when it's good weather, right? So you wouldn't necessarily notice unless you live there. I can see that.
I guess, yeah. Makes sense. So yeah, that was my fact of the week. What is your fact of the week?
Okay, so I went full Sergej this time, and I did way too much research. So
Ooh.
I still technically can't fully confirm it, which is the annoying part. But I have enough that I feel confident enough to at least have like something to present that is sort of fact adjacent. Okay. First, I'm going to ask you a question. What do you reckon is the longest serialized story?
Like story as in like a continuous thing?
A continuous narrative.
Does episodic... Yeah, does like episodic things count?
I mean, it depends on how episodic, but... Like Doctor Who and the X-Files would easily count, but some like Twilight Zone would not count, obviously, because it's, or Black Mirror or whatever, like, because they're... I'm also not sure I'm naming TV shows, but yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Also, how do we measure the length?
Well, see, that is one of the questions I had when I was researching this. Just like...
if it's a book, right? Like, how are you going to measure that?
Okay,
like,
I'm gonna tell you right now, I am primarily looking at the written word. So
okay.
We're not actually looking for a TV show. I was kind of hoping you would reflexively... I mean, I didn't... Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. I was hoping you would just have reflexively an answer. I'm not necessarily looking for any like deep analysis. You're not going to get it anyways, so that's...
Okay. Yeah. Also then, how would you compare that to stuff like comic books?
Good question. You could do page count. You could do volume numbers. You could just say I don't.
I like the last one. Yeah.
So you still don't have an answer, do you?
Yeah. I don't know that much. So please go ahead.
Okay, so there is a series that claims to be the longest running. It has... I actually have a quote here that calls it the most expansive and longest running serialized story in the world. That quote comes from someone doing an introduction for a convention for this story specifically, so I'm not sure how unbiased of a source this is. And that's the main problem I run into this.
Yeah.
I have a lot of sources for this claim, almost all of which I either can't verify I can't find the original source, or they are directly associated with the publishing of that story, and so I inherently don't trust it all that much. Which is where we get into my first problem with this. Okay, so longest series.
Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna start by just saying it is the German science fiction series Perry Roden, which you probably have never heard of.
Never heard of it.
Which I found fascinating because I hadn't either until very recently, despite the fact that apparently it's quite successful and long running. Now, when I say long running, how long running do you think it has been? Choose your metrics, I guess.
Oh, I don't know, like, yeah, man, choosing a metric is also difficult.
Okay. I think the two most interesting ones for me are time and number of releases. I can, for like word count and page count, I can only give you estimates. So I don't actually have any definitive numbers there. Because, frankly, I don't know if I can source it from anywhere.
It's gotta be like at least releases. It's gotta be like I don't know, at least 13,000. Because I vaguely remember hearing about series that had like 10,000 something, 12,000 episodes or whatever.
Okay.
And time-wise, well, we do have like Doctor Who, right, which is going on for quite a while. So, like, let's say 60 years at least in time.
Okay.
One of those.
So, I would love if you could source me that 10,000 number. But we're talking, in this case, about a serialized story that has started on the 8th of September 1961, which, yes, puts it 2 years before Doctor Who, and has been going for over 3,000 issues. As a matter of fact, Exhibit A, period number 3,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so, also just, if you want to know what it looks like in the 60s, here is period number 52. Why 52? Because it's sort of what I have.
Did you go out to buy them specifically, or did you just have them?
Okay, so, right, apparently, at some point, there were ebooks for that available for free, the first 5, I think. And my mom had the tendency sometimes when there were things on the, I guess, Amazon, whatever, that were for free for ebooks, she would, like, download them through Kindle. And when I got one of her old Kindles, I happened to also get all the books that were on there. And I was like, this actually looks somewhat interesting. And so I read some of them, and I was like, this is interesting. And then we went to a secondhand store, like, literally, I think, the day after I started reading them. And they had, like, boxes of them right there. And I was like, I like the story, and this is quite the coincidence. And so I managed to buy, like, over 700 of them for $50. And I was like, okay, you know what? For that price, I can't even say no. It's about 7 cents per issue, right? And you gotta consider, this one is supposed to cost $1.50, which is not even the current currency. But yeah, what does this one say? €2 to 1 yen. I think they're over 3 at this point, because this is also by no means the newest. But this isn't the newest I have, but it's a nice round number. So it's also a bit glossy, which is not optimal for the lighting, but it actually works fairly well. Anyways, it's only 3,000 glossy. Okay, so as of this episode releasing, it should be 3,322 issues that have come out since. Which, again, makes me question where that 10,000 number comes from, because this has been publishing weekly without interruptions since 1961. There might be magazines that have been going longer, but those are, generally speaking, either if you're talking like pulp magazines, those are usually like anthologies, or other ones are not even narrative. So, as far as like actual stories are concerned, continuous stories, I couldn't find any that are longer, which is where we get into some of the tangents. The Guinness Book of World Records, which I hate as a source, but is oftentimes the only one that we have, I found has something called Largest Fiction Series as a record. Now, what do you reckon holds that record?
I don't know.
Doctor Who.
Not this one.
So I'm like, okay, so this is, I guess it's TV shows. I'm like, okay, then I read the description. The official Doctor Who books, including novels, novelizations of TV episodes, and quick reads, represent the longest licensed fictional series based on one principal character. Some 472 titles have appeared since the mid-60s. And I'm like, this story has one central character. His name is in the title! And there's over 3,000! How is 472 the largest number? I mean, granted, they put this record out in 2010, but they would have still put over 2,000 of these. So, okay.
Yeah.
Again, that's why I don't like the Guinness Book of World Records, because it's just whomever decides to pay for the record, and even if someone breaks it, unless they pay for it, they're not going to get the thing, so it's not super reliable for actual records. Okay.
Alright, man. I just found a Wikipedia article by list of television programs with by episode count. So apparently, Unser Sandmännchen is the highest one with over 22,000 episodes.
Okay, I mean, that's basically like a skit show to get kids to fall asleep. I don't think it's like a narrative story. And plus, again, once we're comparing against TV shows, it's like, what do we count? Episodes? Like, okay, maybe. There's like a little over 3,000 of these. And of course, what I didn't mention yet, which I wanted to mention at some point, there are spin-offs. Okay? There are spin-offs. This is, again, is just symbolically, it happens to be. There's a lot of these like 12-part spin-offs. There's also Atlan, which ran for like over 800 issues. And at some point they said it was over 5,000 total. But that was also an older number, so it might actually be more at this point. So yeah.
Another one I see here is Guiding Light, which is a soap opera.
Okay, yeah.
I assume means it's gotta have a continuous story, which has like 15,700 something episodes.
Okay, so I think daily soaps...
Been producing between 1952 and 2009.
Yeah, so daily soaps might have more installments, strictly speaking. Again, this is primarily the fact itself is about the written word. So, that is where we can, I think, like, still set ourselves apart. This morning, I suddenly was like, wait, I forgot about fanfiction. So, I checked, okay? Everything I could find cites the longest fanfiction ever written as being does it actually say the title here? That would be useful. Oh wait, I have it here. The Loud House Revamped by James Dean 5842 on fanfiction.net.
Okay.
That one has someone calculated this because apparently fanfiction.net actually so fanfiction.net says the original work has about 16.7 by 16.8 million words. Turns out, not true. Because...
There's a lot of words.
Yeah, so, where is it? Here, I think. Fanfiction.net's word counter can only go up to 2 to the 42. My man wrote too much for the word counter. So, okay. Someone read it, like, actually, like, convert it into an ebook and then use, like, a Calibre plugin to calculate the word count, which comes out at a little over 34 million. Now, there's also a sequel series, which again, we're talking about serialized stories, so the sequel would count, which has about 14 million words. So we're looking at about 48 million. Now, these things right here...
Dude, that is crazy.
Have about 60 pages. And it says on the internet that a rough conversion for page count to word count is 400. I did like a very cursory glance at this, counted the lines, and roughly counted how many words per line. And 400 might be a slight overshoot, but it's in the right order. It's probably over 300 at the very least. Okay, so if you say 400 words per page, 60 pages per issue, which I mean this one is more. It's also 3,000, so it's not representative, but most of them are like around 60. And we do 3,300 times 60 is about 200,000. It's not quite. It's like 1980, but it's about 200,000 pages by now, which means that's about 80 million words, which is about twice as much as this fanfiction. So again, in terms of longest serialized written story, I still can't prove it's this one. But anything I try to find something contrary is shorter. The Wandering Inn is a long-running online series that sometimes gets mentioned in terms of longest stories. And they actually even have a page where they list a bunch of book series, and they claim to be the longest, and they have about 11 million words. Well, 2 years ago, but so not entirely up to date. But again, 80, right? So,
right.
I don't feel that bad about saying this might be a fact, but I swear to God, if someone can disprove or disprove it in the comments, I much appreciate it. But like, I've been going a little bit crazy trying to like figure out if this is a fact. Again, I have citations for this, but none of them that I trust well enough to be independent sources.
I mean, at the very least, is like a very fun excursion into like some probably very not important research. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, again, this is just like some googling, right? And also, turns out that
yeah,
googling things like this is pretty useless because a lot of what you get is like listicles. If you go for like longest series, and it's just going to be listicles that I think for the most part actually automatically generated by AI. I can't prove that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Or at the very least, they're copied off of another one or something like that. And half of them have like
yeah,
Amazon listings to every series because the whole point of this existing is just to sell you something. And like, I can't trust those.
yep.
But also everything that I've seen listed as being the longest is shorter than this. Most of what I've seen were also listed only use English language works though. Not even necessarily as like an explicit requirement, but like there wasn't anything that wasn't either originally English or like prominently translated into English. So it's like it's very possible that some just got missed because like these ones were translated to many different languages, including English.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 150 of them in English because they stopped making them.
Yeah, it's not that many.
So obviously it's not the longest series in English.
Yep.
But yeah, that was that. I don't know if there is like actually like a concrete underlying factor I can point to as being a factor of the week this week. I guess my factor of the week is that this is allegedly the longest running serialized work of fiction or whatever. And
Yeah,
I mean the fact
works.
that they have been publishing since 1961 and they haven't missed a week. As a matter of fact, something that I found out by accident is that technically there's 2 issues too many of this. Because at times, they would switch when it was published. Right? Sometimes they were published on Fridays, sometimes on Tuesdays, and when they switched, apparently they made sure to never like have more than 7 days gap. So if they switched from Friday to Tuesday, it would be like a 3-day gap or whatever that ends up working out for.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's from Tuesday to Friday, it would be a 3-day gap. So every time you switch back and forth, it's like 1 extra issue. And so apparently through that shenanigans, I actually ended up having 2 extra than what you would have expected if they were, strictly speaking, weekly since then.
That is interesting.
Again, if someone has something that like can actually rival this, then like sure, like put it in the comments. I genuinely don't know. It claims to be the longest running, and I couldn't disprove it. That's about as much as I can confidently say as a fact.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Halftime show.
Halftime show. Yeah, that's something.
Yeah. This was too interesting not to use it as a fact of the week, even though, again, I found it a bit frustrating that I couldn't quite confirm it. Turns out no one is actually keeping track of this.
That was interesting.
Yeah, but like no one keeps track of this apparently as like an objective list. And again, like I was comparing the fanfictions by word count. I mean, I could go by number of chapters because those are usually released in chapters, so that's individual number of releases. Most of these were written in much shorter time frames. So going in terms of like time since first release, this one probably wins in terms of like uninterrupted releases. Like going weekly for over 60 years is like not something that most things can say. Much less ongoing narrative. I mean, these sort of magazine format booklets are basically a German equivalent of pulp magazines. And generally speaking, those are anthologies. They will publish one story 1 week and another story the next week. They'll have the same title overall, but they'll just tell individual stories. And this is one continuous narrative with the same main character. And so, like, that is unusual. I mean, the whole pitch was like, hey, what if we make this as a continuous story? And the publisher was like, I guess you can make like 30 to 50 of those. We'll see how well it sells. And then it made over 3,000 of them.
Yeah, that is kind of wild.
But yes, again, I can't substantiate the claim that it's the longest running, but I can't contradict it either. So make of that what you will. Right, I said Squardle. We're doing Squardle. We're going big this time. It's Squardle XXL. I don't know what our starting words are because there's supposed to be 7 letters. I can't just put in tonic and laser.
That's difficult, huh?
I think this is one of the more difficult parts of this. Not just the start, but also like I feel like it's not that hard to come up with 5-letter words in a pinch. I mean, we have struggled at times, especially when like there's specific constraints. But coming up with a 7-letter word is a whole
Tactile.
different ballgame. What do you say?
Tactile.
Tactile?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it has 2 T's, but... I mean, it has 3 vowels in it, and it has T and L, which is pretty good. I think we can use this. It's our first time doing this. We don't have to be perfect. I mean, we don't ever have to be perfect, of course, but... Wow, you got 2 letters.
Look at that.
And you got 4 letters of the first row, which is quite a bit.
Yeah.
Only 3 letters in the first row, sorry. Because there's only 1 T, otherwise there will be 2 arrows. If you try 2 T's in a row, and there are 2 T's, it'll put 2 arrows. So, there's an over one, like obviously there's one in each direction. So
yeah, I was not used to the fact that we try multiple of the same letter in the same word.
Not normally something we do in the beginning, which is what also threw me off there. But yeah, it's just T, A, and C that we know for a fact are in that row. Actually, knowing that A is in the second column is pretty good, because we once again playing a version that has holes. And so having a column that only has 4 letters, and knowing that A has to be in one of these, 3 then, is already like pretty limited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess now we want one that has O and U in it, right? And S, I guess. And I don't know, R? Did we do R? Yeah. We did R, right? No, we didn't do R. Sour. And then like 3 more letters. Or something, I don't know. I mean, technically we could do sourest, but that's kind of stupid because it has 2 S's and it has a T, which we already tested. Unless, of course, I mean, T at the end we haven't tested, of course. It's not even that terrible. I'm not really planning to talk myself into it, but it is actually not that terrible. Thoughts?
So it doesn't... I was thinking gophers, but that doesn't really have a U in there.
I mean, yeah, it
gopher as in the animal.
Yeah, you know, it has pretty much everything else, right? That we wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate it. We don't absolutely need to have a U right now. We can just test it later. No P's.
Yep.
I think the negative hints are less useful in this. Like, I was gonna say like no H's in these 2 rows and columns, but there's like 7 of them. So it's limited down to 5 each, which is
yeah.
We have E and R in the 3rd column, alongside O and S. That's 4 of them. Like, actually 4 this time.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the most surprising thing we have, but at the same time, it's not going to be super helpful, even if we did figure out a word that fits there for the rest of the grid yet.
And keeping track of hints is gonna be hell in this.
I mean, you still
I'm already struggling.
You only have to scan the row of the column still. It's not... I mean, right now...
I mean,
also,
yes,
of course, for the current
thinking of words that fit all of those.
Oh, yeah, that is definitely true. I mean... Yeah... Right.
5 by 5 was fine. 7 by 7, that is rough.
We don't have to keep playing this. Like, I mean, like long term, but it was
yeah,
just
no. It's a fun excursion. I do like that. I'm just commenting that, man, this is tougher than usual.
Yeah.
Huh.
Do we want to try just something for like that might be somewhat useful for the current one, or do we want to actually try to figure out something for what we already have? Because I don't think we have enough to figure much of anything.
Probably like a mix of both, since we do have a lot of letters now,
Yeah,
and
I
we
mean,
can kind of do both.
the keyboard is kind of useful because we know that our current guess needs an E both in the row and the column and an I in the column. And we can't have
Yeah.
R, T, O, L, G, H, S, A, or C. Wait. That's not universally true though, right? Like we can have A's, we just oh yeah, that's what it was. Right, they would be fully grayed out if we couldn't have them in the word. It's just there is at least one spot, I guess, that can't have them. Or something like that. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But yeah, no. I guess for relevantly, we haven't tried Q W Y U D F J K Z X V B N and M. I mean, that's the other thing we could try to keep doing new letters, right? Like M, N, maybe D, and U, of course, seem like very useful letters. Yeah, I'm not saying that I immediately have an idea either, but I mean, dumbest. I mean, I'm gonna probably suggest a lot of EST words because it's very easy to come up with a four-letter word. But would test for B, M, U, and D. E is right at the intersection of those two hints.
Yeah.
S we have some information on, but none on whether it could go there or there. And T
Yeah,
we also
I'm
same
currently
thing.
like for your information, I'm currently kind of trying for like maybe chemicals and stuff, like bromine. That kind of works, sort of.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't give us U.
Doesn't have a U. Yeah,
Uh,
which is the
so in terms of new letters,
issue I'm trying to solve right now.
the main new letters it would give us is B and M, right? Where dumbest gives us B, N, D, and U.
Oh, bromine
Oh,
also
as N,
does
yes.
N.
Yeah, sorry, I just noticed, yeah.
It also gives more hints about like letters that we do already have.
Yeah, the O wouldn't
Like,
work in here, but it has to be in this column, so that.
oh yeah, right. I didn't even notice that. Yes, of course. I was trying to make the O not be in second place, but I kind of missed that third place is also not
And I
the
has a similar
greatest.
situation where it we'd have to have one in this column,
Yeah.
but we can't have it in that row. So actually, the I is terrible because this is the one spot that it would go. And no, you can't just go bromide. That has the same problem. Which would be the. Are you still there?
Yep.
Because I think your camera froze. Oh yeah, it's better now.
Hey, no, I don't think it did. I'm just thinking.
No, I think it might have actually froze briefly because I think when you said yeah, your mouth didn't move. It does sometimes like briefly freeze, but it's fine. And yeah, sometimes you're just very still, which is it's a dangerous combination.
Yeah.
Um,
That's not great.
I mean, there might be something like a bromade or something. I'm not entirely sure,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not that much better overall as a guess. I'm still of the opinion that dumbest is not the dumbest guess we could make.
Possibly not, but I don't like looking at the O. I don't like it being like in second, what is it, fifth or no, not fifth, second,
But dumbest is probably you.
no, fifth.
Or what were you?
Yes.
Oh wait, you
I
want?
just don't want it to be like in one of those gaps where it's like not a lot of possibilities for it too. Or it doesn't give us a lot of information.
Oh wait, so you're saying you want the U? You'd rather have the U being in one of these?
In one of the intersections, yes.
Okay.
Like looking at the O, it doesn't really tell us all that much. The hint for like the second word that we
Yeah.
tried.
Drummer. It has a lot of repeat letters, though.
It sure does.
I mean, it has double M's and double R's, right? It's not amazing. Although I will say, I think all of the letters that it does have are in reasonable positions. Oh wait, no, one of the drummer. You know, that would technically work. It's not amazing, but it's weird because when we did 5x5, there were some times when I wished I could use longer words, and now I wish that I didn't need to have such long words. It's funny how that works out. Huh. Wait, brusquely.
Brusquely? No, I'm not opposed to it, but what does it mean?
God, I'm not good at definitions. It's a word, okay? I read a lot. Brusque. I want to say quick, but I don't know if that's true.
I mean, briskly. That's quick. Brusquely?
Maybe there's something going on in my brain where it's confusing this, but I'm pretty sure brusque is a word.
Could be.
And if brusque is an adjective, then
like
brusquely is an adverb. That would stand to reason. Let's see. L is poorly positioned. Both those L's are actually bad.
Yeah.
Y is unused thus far. K is unused. S is at the very least not poorly positioned. What do you say?
How about brusqued?
I don't think that's a word.
Probably not, but might as well try. It is not.
Brusquer, I guess, as a comparative.
Yeah, sure. I know.
So let's see. The R's are both fine technically. The E is fine. The S is fine. The U is new. And the B is new. And we don't get Y this way, but we also don't get the useless L, so... And we don't really need Y. We might need Y at some point, but...
We probably need Y, yeah. But that's fine.
Brusque. Maybe like abrupt as well? I don't know. I'm not... I mean, no U, K, or B, which is the 3 new letters that we tried. So, there's that. Yeah, I'd really want to have an E and an R in that row. There's a lot of places that want E's and R's. And some places that don't.
Yeah, interestingly enough. Huh.
Wait, so the last column needs an R. And there's 3 spots that it can't be in, which I guess still means there's 4 that it can be. Don't love how that works out.
Not great.
Wait, oh god. Okay, so this row also wants one, but the problem is it could go anywhere except for where we tried it already. This has an intersection, and this also has an intersection, so it's not even that we could say, like, oh, we just picked the intersection.
Yeah.
I guess that's the other thing. Like, positive hints are also less precise. Because there's just more options. I mean, I guess it's not true for the ones with the holes, because we usually play weekly where there are no holes. But still. Well, the first column needs G and L, and neither of those come in first. That's not super helpful, is it? The last column, the one that we're currently working on technically, needs an E, an S, and an R. Which is 3 letters, by which I mean less than half.
And they're all not all that restricted either.
Yeah.
Well, the yes is kind of 4 spots where it can be. It's either it's the second last or one of the first two.
It's weird because now... so sorry, what did you say? I spaced off for a second.
The S and... Yeah, the S in the rightmost column can only be in the first 2 spaces or the second to last one.
That is true. The second last is very possible, as I tried a lot of words that end in EST. And we never put any of those in, so we don't know, but second to last S is like very natural, sadly. And obviously first S and second S are just no random possibilities. That's a problem, right? It's a bit restricted, but also all of those are feasible.
Yep.
The R can't go in second or in last, so that also has only 4 spots that I can go in. And the E has 5 spots? No, wait, also 4. So okay, so S has 3 spots and the other 2 have 4 each. It makes sense why I keep comparing this to like Sudoku and why it's a bit of a puzzle. It's like if you put one letter there, then it limits further where you can put the other letters. Do we have any positive hints for... We have the one for E. The one row that really would like to have one. We have 2 for R. And do we have anything for S that wants to be in a specific row? No, it's all columns. Okay, so we could obviously make the argument that, like E there, R there kind of a thing, but that's, again, purely going off of the fact that if that were true, we would check off more hints that way. It doesn't mean they have to be true. Also kind of awkward. R space E. It's definitely possible. I'm just like, I feel like E and R have a tendency to go one after another. Either way around. So I guess we want to try something that has those 3 letters in it, and then maybe some new ones. I guess is our best bet. I mean, obviously, if we do that, we run into the problem that S and R are both disallowed in the row that we're also simultaneously entering in. So,
yeah.
Although it could still give us indirect hints by like being across.
Yeah. So I'm currently thinking of serpent, but no P's, unfortunately.
Oh, I see. Yes, it has all the things that I said right about the R and the E where they're optimal.
Yeah.
The only problem being the okay. The problem is when I think of similar sounding words, the first one that came to mind is surgeon, and it's like spelled completely differently because English language is fun like that.
Yeah.
Which I will maintain is one of the main reasons why games like this are particularly well equipped to be done in English. Because if you had like a very consistent pronunciation, it will be a lot easier to just switch out 1 or 2 letters here and there, and to like figure out or just sound out half a word, and just like throw in whatever, like if you're missing like 2 letters, just throw in whatever letters, like the vowel consonant wise would make sense, and just say it out loud, and you probably have immediately know what word sounds similar enough to be the right solution. But because English is so inconsistent in its pronunciation, you can't just go off the letters you have and just say something out loud and hope that it works.
Irving?
Sir the E G. G nest works. N's we haven't tried, which is good. SER I already checked earlier. V we haven't done at all. I does not work in the row in the column.
It works in the row.
But it works in the row. So it's not going to be the answer, but it could still be useful.
Yeah.
I don't dislike it, and it's not like we're gonna come up with a ton of different answers. So it's always great when you can test for V. Hey!
Actually, you have a V somewhere. In one of 3 spots.
Yeah, unfortunately, this one is over a hole.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we could have really limited it. Although I guess it's impossible, huh?
Mm-hmm.
To use one guess to limit it down to 2 spots, because if this is pointing at a row that has holes in it, then this is pointing at a column that has holes in it. Like, necessarily. Because of the symmetry of the board.
Yeah.
But no, placing the R could be quite useful. We also further limited the I, of course. We already knew it couldn't be here, but now we also know it can't be here. I guess that's all that we found out. So it's still there. It's still a lot of places.
Yeah.
What do we have? E still. S still.
Well, first row. Yeah.
Oh, first row last one. Yeah, that's new. Wait, E here. It's also one of 2 spots.
That's
now.
also new.
The problem is both of them want one.
Probably both of them, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not even that I like that it's both. Like, nah. Okay, so we have the R now. We still need an S and an E. That's not really. It really didn't change that much, huh? I mean, I guess it eliminated S from being the first letter, which is one of the 3 possible spots that you said, so it's not 2 spots left for S. Similarly, I said E had 4 spots, which means that it now has at most 3. Yeah, R unfortunately isn't one of the spots that E couldn't be in. So, I guess it still has 3. I will just say, it still seems like this is the most likely spot for E technically, although again, this could very well be multiple. Which then brings up the obvious possibility that S is in one of those 2 spots, and then T is just kind of a natural follow-on from that. Or another E if you feel like it.
Okay, no, but for the S, that is actually a good point. What is the likelihood of the S being in the second spot there? Like E, something SR.
Oh, SR. Low.
Basically none, right?
I'm not going to say that it definitely doesn't exist, but...
Close to 0.
Azrael? Name of an angel? I was gonna say, it feels like ISR should work, but I think I'm just thinking of Israel, which isn't an acronym. Yeah, no, I it's very low. So the S is a very good guess there.
Yeah.
Again, E is not necessarily super much more likely there than other places, but it's just that it would be convenient if it was there. And then I think ES is usually followed by T or E.
Yep.
NT as an ending, I think, works. quite well, so that's not necessarily a concern. And E would also work, so um and then we don't know anything else that we need there affirmatively, so I guess we could try something starting with T or C or A for purposes of the first row. But wait, the
Sorry, could you
R.
repeat that?
I said the first letter could be a T, an A, or a C for the purposes of the first row. As in the first letter of the last column could be
Oh, right.
the,
Yes, that makes sense.
something that would want to be in the row. It could also be something else because we don't know all the letters of the row yet. We only have 4 out of 7. But yeah, um, I'm still a little bit. The R and the E is still throwing me off a little bit. Like, I guess it works, right? You could have like an urgist, urbust, right? Like it does work. Earnest. Wait. Earnest. Oh no, ends. If it wasn't for the ends, then earnest would have just worked as a word, like EARNEST. Uh,
Yeah.
just urgest, ermest, warmest. I hate that I just said that, but it could work. I mean, W wasn't exactly one of the letters I wanted, but
That definitely could work. Huh? Uh,
A. I don't think it's A in the first spot. At least if the ist is correct, which I mean obviously is not a given, but because if the ist is correct, then and we put an A here, we basically would need A consonant R consonant est. So that just doesn't seem Ruist. I mean, maybe a U could work here. Like truest is a word, but obviously we would need 2 letters up front. But it definitely does. Like in the abstract, it works. Like RUEST does work.
yeah.
But generally speaking, I would assume there to be vowel consonants there. So if we have a 3 consonant cluster, that's unlikely. So I think there's a vowel here and a consonant there. And then we just go through there being like 5 vowels. 4 that we could use there. Sorry, 3 that we could use there. And O, A, or E. Wait, no, we can't use E there. Or O. So this is an A. That. I don't love that. That's not where we wanted to put an A, but, you know, it is what it is. Hardest. Warmest. Darkest.
Doesn't work. No case.
No case, fair enough.
Yeah.
I was gonna say farthest, but that doesn't work. That's 2 letters. TH. There's at least 2 different distinctions. There's a possibility, as I said, which is what did I say before? I said darkest. I said warmest, and what was the other one? I think the other one was better. Largest? Did I say largest?
Warmest? I don't think you did. No L's in first spot there.
Okay. No G's in the column. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, Vormus works so nicely because W and M are new letters, so so you can't say it doesn't work there. Uh,
I'm trying to make TH work. THR something.
what? Oh, okay.
Maybe see if we can rule that out or add that as another possibility.
I, I mean, it depends on how attached we are to the letters I put in already, but it seems unlikely that because what would it have to be? THR that would have to be followed by a vowel, which can't be I or U. So we're down to O, A, and
Well,
E.
we don't necessarily know that the E or T are really there.
That's what I was saying, right? It depends on how attached we are to what I put down already. But
oh yeah.
But if we assume that what I put down is correct, which is a dangerous assumption, I know, then it would have to be a vowel. I don't think it could be threest or thriest, so it would have to be throughest. And that doesn't work. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say no H.
Probably not.
I don't even hate warmest. The problem is we'd have to make the W work. Like if you could put in the guess right now, I would even suggest we put warmest, but it's like
yeah. Could you put in the W there so it's easier to visualize?
yeah. Now we still need an S, T, A, and C in the row. Well, I mean, A is convenient because AW is totally a thing. Like, AW happens sometimes. Like, raw. Or thaw. Gnaw. I mean, that's the problem. Whenever I have examples, they're way too short. That actually happens a lot. So I'm tempted to say AW. Now, we can't have any
EW
E's
also works. Well, except that, no E's there. And that's
or I's. So, and U's in general. So we're limited to O's and A's for our vowels. Now, ow works as well. Like in sow.
Yep.
Or so. Which is spelled the same, I think. Grow, glow, flow, snow. What about consonants?
Right, which of the
consonants and a W? I don't think so, right? Like consonant W is a like WN, WG, like those. Maybe not WG, but WN, like this thing that work. But like something W. True.
I don't think so.
Like no, I don't think so. So that letter right here is an A or an O. I'm gonna tentatively put A there just because we need an A.
All right.
I mean, and also this is an A. This is an A or an O, and as far as the other one's a W, which is not necessarily given. That means we still need to find a T and a C. Now, do we have any negative constraints there? Well, T can only go in 2 spots now. And C
Can go.
is limited whatsoever, is it? Not in first.
Okay. Well, that cannot go in the first, yeah.
Okay, how do we feel about words ending in toe or taw? Toe definitely works. Taw. Now, caw. Well, I mean, it's an onomatopoeia, but The problem is that toe works. Otherwise, I'm tempted to say T has to go. Wait, oh no, these both work, right? So it's actually 3 spots. I said 2, I think.
Yeah.
But both of those work. Fuck, that actually is worse. I mean, even if it is an A back there, we still probably need another vowel anyways. I don't think we can.
Certainly.
I don't think we can make a run of 5 consonants work. Which is actually interesting because, like, not a single consonant is allowed here. Right? No A, O, I, E, or U in general. I mean, I guess it could be a Y, but otherwise, this cannot possibly be a vowel.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's super helpful. This probably can't be either. I mean, double A words do exist. Like, aardvark comes to mind. OA, can't think of anything. Not a fan. So, that is actually quite interesting.
It's Oatly. I don't know.
Oh yeah, oats are definitely like a... Yeah, oats are a...
Oat.
Oatmeal. Yeah. Like, anything that starts with oat. Oak. Like the tree.
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay. Not that many words starting with vowels in general. I think it's not unreasonable to say this might start with a consonant cluster.
It likely does, yeah. So, I mean, we
But
do need
did I
an
mention we
S.
need an S? Yeah. I was just thinking ST, right?
Yeah.
Seems reasonable. And then this is a O or an A. This is an O or an A. One of those is a C. Probably that one then, huh? Well, it could be cow, I suppose. Don't ask me if that's a word, okay? Star cow. Stokcraw.
It's obviously Starkov,
Starkov.
which surely is a Russian name, right?
Doesn't work in English. I mean, see, this is the problem because they actually romanize it as Starkov with double F. So that's why that doesn't work. Or a K is actually even more likely. In the romanization, it's probably always going to be K, not C. If it was
Or V instead of W at the end, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um.
hmm.
The
What were
problem.
the other options instead of a W there?
Well, that's the problem, right? I don't remember any of them that actually worked.
Uh, what was it? Hardest?
Hardest. Yes. that works. I don't know if it's one of the ones I said. That does work, doesn't it? We don't have any restrictions on
Think
D.
so.
H in the column seems fine, yes. That's still not a word quite, but it looks better as like a starting point, right? Like something like this.
Well, I was thinking more the C as like the second to last one, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Batch. I mean,
Starch.
yeah, right. It's like it's a word.
Yeah,
It's
but we still need a letter. uh,
I was trying to figure out if it's possible to have a single vowel in here, which I think it is. I just can't quite place it.
it's quite a stretch, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, right? You go another R in here. I mean, this one's an R as well, right? And so you now go starch.
No, I was
Ah,
literally meaning stretch as in as a guess.
yeah, but we need an A. And we can't have E's.
Ah, right. Ah, shit. Must you remind me of reality?
Strotch. Strotch.
Only an A.
uh, huh.
Ah, man.
Starch. With TCH. Storch. I guess if we have a T at the end there, we don't need the T in the beginning, huh?
Okay, so, question: how common are words with SCH in English that are still
Most
read as sh?
most of the time it's SH. I think I have seen
Right.
SCH, but it's kind of rare.
I've seen a couple of
I
those.
was gonna say Scotch, but it still doesn't quite fit, right? We have the same problem as before.
No.
God damn it. Um, Scooch. It doesn't seem like a word. Although double O is a possibility, I suppose. Oh, we need an A. I forgot we need an A. Hey! I did a thing!
Oh, that works.
See, I have a bit of an advantage over you in that I have that I have the in front of me. I can just click around until it works. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel more confident now that it works, but the worst part is I'm gonna type it in and it's gonna be wrong. And it's gonna only be like 2 letters that are right. It's
Uh.
No, it's correct.
Hey.
We needed the bonus guest. We're actually running out. Not really, but
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
okay.
And now we're feeling pretty confident the hardest, right?
I would say so. I
Ah,
didn't hate it
yeah, that
before. It's
was
just that
good.
I mean, especially
Yeah.
hardest over the other one before, which was warmest. Which I didn't love the W, but the problem is, in theory, W works. I think it's just with the constraints we had. I'm not sure if there is a W solution, but in general, they could have been one.
Okay, so for like a split second, it was worried maybe it's harvest, but we literally tested the V there in that
Oh,
spot, so it's not.
I mean, it wouldn't have even occurred to me, so I mean, good that you're at least thinking of it, but yeah, in this case. The problem is the T, I don't think is given in any way, shape, or form. I think it's just something I made up. So if it,
Yeah.
so again, if we say the E and the S are correct, which, wait, actually,
Well, another silly possibility is it could be harfist, like the most harf-like.
you mean harpist, the most harp-like?
uh, but yeah, right. That right. Ha.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. 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 Bro. Hmm.
So we need in the first column, we still need an L and a G. We already have 3 letters. And no negative constraints that I can see.
Is the first column salvage?
And that's basically what I was asking, right? Like, what is the first column? Cell. If we need a V there, that's good. So, okay, so the column needs an L and a G, which we have now. We already had an A, so that's not necessarily, and that doesn't really matter one way or the other. Although all letters also are allowed, as far as I can tell. And we needed a V in that row.
Yeah.
So it's a very good guess. I think you are better at this than me. So it's good that I actually can do the thing where I can just play around with it until it works.
I don't know, man.
Um, yeah, I was just trying to see what the next column has, but the O could be just about anywhere, except for the first two, of course, but the first two, 3 ones. It needs to have an E. I don't know which one thing it could be just about anywhere, except for one spot below where it already can't be. And an R, which is a bit more restricted, I think, actually. Not really. Oh wait, we already have an R as well. Great. What other column do we have that one? The other column needs an R, an I, and an E. Which we already established R's are not so restricted. Eyes are a bit restricted, aren't they? Well, if I bet, I mean one spot isn't allowed.
Not much.
And E's are also just about anywhere. That's not super helpful.
Oh, one interesting thing about the R's. Like if we are confident in our guesses so far, R's gotta be in third column, second to last spot.
Third column is in this one, second to last spot is in this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll put it, not as like a known, but as a guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, because since that row is pretty
G and S are correct. Yeah.
Right, if the G and the S are correct, then I'm tentatively optimistic about that one. Right, I should check those. I kept wanting to check all of the like actual like words, but you're right. We should actually check specifically ones that aren't words, because it's like one of those two needs to be an E. I guess it could be either one, but that sort of a thing is more useful.
Yeah.
Like one of these needs to
be
be
an A. The
other
ones are
this
useful.
Probably isn't an A. This could be an A actually. This one could be an A. And the other ones don't have any. Great. Yeah, no. But no, it's a good approach. I mean, it does further limit the I now to 3 spots, I guess. Yeah. Bottom row also needs an R. Wait, no, it can't have an R. Wait, sorry, no, I read it wrong. It's specifically can't have an R, just a lot of columns need one.
Mm-hmm. I don't think we have any positive hints for the last row.
Well, except for the E, which we already have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, third row still needs an R, but that's not super helpful either. Second row also needs an R. Everything needs an R, okay? Like I think it's actually true, right? Like every like row and column that is a word needs an R still, unless it has one already.
I think so. Yeah. That is true.
R is just a very common letter. I think
Well,
something.
actually, well, no. Last row doesn't need
Right?
one.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I'd already said at the
Apart
very
from
first
that,
thing that it can't
yes.
have an R, and then I just completely forgot that it's also still there. It's similar with E, where
Yeah.
the second row can't have an E, but the other two both need one, although both already one tentatively and one already actually has one. So I guess the second column still needs an E, but and it can't be in that in between one. I can't be any in between ones. Wait, no, that's not true. It can't be in. So E can't be there or there. It obviously can't be there because there's already one there, which limits it to there, which actually still wants one anyways, and there, which could still be it. That's actually just two spots. Unless I've looked something, which is very possible in this big ass grid. So this column actually has one of two spots for its E, and it needs an O. And it's the one we're currently guessing. And it needs an S still. None of those are individually that restricted.
Well, I'm counting 3 spots for the E in that column.
Here,
Second.
not there, there,
Yeah.
not there, not there, and there. Yeah, that's 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I overlooked. I think I overlooked this one.
Yeah, could be.
I think I have a bad habit of doing that, especially when it's two back-to-back ones. Like for some reason, it's the same thing as with like T being both these up here. I think I have trouble with the holes because we mostly play words without. Where like somehow my brain parses those wrong.
Yep. It's difficult.
I mean, I knew that was a risk. This was going to take a while when we decided to do this, but wow. Where
we at?
The full podcast should be at about 2 hours.
Oh shit. Yeah.
I think. Can actually. The thing is, technically, OBS tells me how long, but I can't read that, so I have to go by the clock, which I hope I remember. It doesn't matter.
We should be at around 2 hours now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you said you were pressed for time, and also, since we're pre-recording this quite a bit, I have enough time to edit this in case it takes a bit longer. It's not really.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a behemoth episode, but that's fine.
I mean, as I already said at the beginning, right? The other video I had planned for this week is going to be on Monday, so you know.
Yeah.
Easter is problematic like that sometimes.
Understandable.
I was going to say something to the effect of remodel. It doesn't quite work, but I think re makes a lot of sense. And then we need to know somewhere. And we might as well have another E, right? It's the except it can't be here, of course. So I guess we might not have another E.
So.
I was gonna say maybe instead of remodel is renovate, but renovate is too long. Which would have been very fitting thematically to say that's the same thing basically. Also, 2 V's in the grid would be something else. Fuck. I always end up with E's here. It's like one of the few spots that it can't be. God damn it! Every time. Um, it doesn't quite. Wait. I was trying to make rework, well, work, but it's too short, and I don't think I can make it like a rework. Wait, reworks, I guess, right? Got a W in there after all? Oh, no case in general. Sorry, I have to reword that a little bit.
Yeah, cool.
Wait, do we need no? Yeah, we need no. That's why I have no. Because otherwise rewards makes more sense in my mind, but I don't think this breaks any rules, at the very least. We need an E, an O, an R. We already have an R. We need an E, an O, and an S, right? We have all of those. Except the S can't go there. I'm an idiot. Sorry. Yeah, no. No, that can't work. God damn it.
Uh,
No, that was bad. I'm sorry. That was nothing. Stupid S. Uh, S. Not there. Fuck me. Where does the S go, anyways? It can only go there. Right? Oh, wait. Yeah, we need an S and it has to go there. If the E is correct, which it doesn't have to be, then the S has to go there. Which you're never gonna guess what I'm gonna say next. I kind of want to put a T. I kind of want to put a T there.
Same.
I mean, re seems like such a logical thing to put as like a prefix. It also helps me break this down because then I just have to find a word that you can redo, right? Like you can rework, you can reword, you can rehouse. I don't know. I was gonna say rehost, but that just doesn't work because the H doesn't go anywhere and the O doesn't go there. Actually, the O could go there. Never mind, but it's also too short. There's a couple reasons why that doesn't work. Wait, so if it is ST,
Yeah. Unfortunately, request doesn't work.
no use, huh?
That and also even if the E is in the spot we've tried before.
Oh, right, yeah. I mean, I kind of like the idea of having a Q in there, but then we also have to like it's not one of those spots where you can just put whatever you want. It's like it's you know. Uh, uh, I'm not saying it can't work. I'm just saying it's very spicy. If this is ST, I mean, it could also be I don't know. It can't be SH, right? It could be SE, I guess, still, but wait. It could be. It could be SE. How many E's can I put in the word? The answer is yes.
That kind of works, yeah.
I mean, I have no reason to believe that this is correct. I mean, this is just pulled out of my ass, right? We don't need a single one of those letters. It just works.
Mm-hmm.
I know I definitely want to put an O there. Which makes it sound like a sugar.
Kind of.
Repose. I know it's missing a letter. Maybe it's not re. But then again, EOs is also rough. The problem is, I think if the O is there, then it basically has to be now two consonants, right? Re those. Re. Blows. I don't know, that doesn't even make sense. Ricos. Re. I think it would have to be double consonants if OSE is correct and RE is correct. And this is REA. Repose, but spelled like reap rather than re. um, oh, wait.
Remorse?
I mean, it doesn't have to be an E up there at all. Of course, we already have an E in the.
Yeah, but how about remorse?
Remorse. Sure. Which both means what you think it means, but also, obviously, in case your connection is bad and you're morsing to someone and they didn't get it, you also re-morse it. I know that wasn't what you
I
were saying.
guess that works.
So it's remorse. That's the good
Uh-huh.
news. I guess that isn't really any bad news. Wait. So that aren't is redundant. That E hint is also redundant. That O hint is
Almost redundant.
not super
Not
useful
quite.
at the very least. R, well, it's somewhat redundant, but actually it means that the R isn't here, which that is useful. It's basically
Yeah.
like we knew the row column the one, but we didn't know where it had to be, although we already put it there. So, Although for the row we didn't. Wait, for the row, oh no, we already have one. And no S's in the row, which we already knew. Okay, it's not super useful in terms of like additional information, but at least we got some letters. Speaking of letters, we now have basically two more rows and columns to wait, one column and two rows to figure out still. Assuming everything else is correct, which, admittedly, I feel better about element now that the E is correct.
Yep.
And RE as an ending is legitimate, but more French or British English than it is American English. Although, depends, right? Like, centre versus center, but also, it could still be like air at the end, and then it would be perfectly legitimate either way. I also don't know that there's a guarantee that it's American spellings to begin with. That's just kind of something that I think at some point I made up and has mostly worked so far. Um,
Um, does anything speak against limbar for second row?
uh, what bar? Oh, limber.
Limbar.
Limber
Yeah.
as in lithe, as in, so as in, wait, limber.
Yeah.
Wait, limber doesn't work. Wait, wait.
R. A-R-R. B-A-R.
I'm not sure if that's a word. Also, it's too short, isn't it? Limbar.
Oh, yeah, right. Somehow,
I think lumbar.
yeah.
Wait, how's lumbar actually spelled? Like the no, it doesn't matter. The R's wouldn't work anyways.
Yeah,
I
no
think it's two
use.
R's. No use. Yeah, lumbar is the lower part of your spine, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean by limbar. I mean
I
limber
had,
as an adjective, and lumbar I'm familiar with.
yeah, no, never mind.
It's too
Doesn't
short
really
either way.
work because it's, yeah.
Uh,
I was just
okay.
like trying to work off of lumbar.
Yeah, I mean, I guess limb is generally not that bad, right? Like,
Yeah.
uh, limb is a word. Wait, no bees. That's the other thing. No bees, just categorically.
Oh, wait, what? I didn't even see that. Yeah.
Um, okay, so that row also kind of E's. It kind of O's. We already said no use in general. So A and I are the only. Oh, we need an A still in one of these, and I said double A is unlikely.
Oh, that's a good spot. Yeah.
Laminar.
Sounds like a word. Yeah.
I think it's like a math thing or something, like a physics math kind of like laminar flow, something like that, maybe.
It was spelled with a U, but I'm not sure.
I might be. It might be one of those things where, much like you earlier, I'm just like kind of mixing two words up in my head and like making something new that works.
Yeah.
But laminar feels right. Like it feels like it's a word.
It sounds like a word at least.
And I don't think it breaks any of the requirements, which is the best part of it. Um, where do we need less? The column, right? T something N something RE. I already suggested if it's RE, we might want to throw in an A there as well. Air. Yeah, we don't have to though. Tenor is too short, right?
What is?
Tenor, as in the voice level, whatever the TENOR, right?
Oh yeah. Not sure how that is spelled.
Oh, it's also tenor. It wouldn't have an E at the end, anyways. That's actually the main problem. Unless, of course, there's a feminine version. You know, tenor. It's probably French in origin. That's no, I don't think it's anything. And still wouldn't work anyways, would it? Like even it's a five-letter word. Why am I even like trying to stretch this out? Oh god, forget about anything else I said. Uh, because this can't be I. It could be E. Could be A. Both of which would make sense theoretically, potentially, maybe. ear, air, that sort of a thing. This could be an E or an A. Like, think fanfare, right? But different letters, of course, because this is a T.
Yeah.
The tanfare. It's the same as fanfare, but you just you can get a bit of sun while doing it.
Yeah.
Ten more. I hate that because it technically fits. It's just two words.
Tin there.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure we can make two words work if I want. Tonder, tender. How about tender? Wait, that doesn't work. That's too short again, right?
No.
Because we don't have an E at the end. It's not tender, it's tender. It doesn't have the extra E at the end. God damn it! A, E, or I. Wait, we need an I anyways. And it can't be here. It doesn't seem like it should be there. I think it is an I. Up there.
Yeah.
Tenier. Double N-E-R-E. Ooh, I don't even like that I said that. What do we have for this row anyways? We need an R and an E, which we both have. Great. Nothing else. Okay, cool. That's not useful. I was hoping. Okay. But this seems like it should be an A or an E, right? So tinware, like silverware.
And I was all like thinking where for like a long time now, but I didn't connect that tin obviously works. I was thinking where isn't like software. Like all kinds of like
I mean,
malware.
same etymology actually,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah, yeah.
all of wares as in goods. But I'm
Yeah.
not confident that this is a word, but it could be.
It makes more sense at least. Yeah.
Okay. Which leaves us with A-R-A-E. Oh god. We could try tinware as a guess. I'm not even confident it's a word. Well, I'm like 50-50. Well, maybe a bit better than that.
Yeah, let's go for it. Why not?
It's like, if it's not a word, then it doesn't matter. If it's right, it also doesn't matter really, right? It's
Exactly.
Like, yeah, there we go.
It's right, yeah.
And I guess we, theoretically, I was hoping it was going to give us more hints that we could use. Logically, there are no W's in that row. No I's or N's either, so it's not super. Wait, T-I-N-W, A was already there, R and E was already there. Okay, wait. Well, I mean, it wasn't there, but yeah. I guess the logical thing to do would be to do columns. Do we just want to fill in the two columns and see what that gives us? If that gives us any extra hints, maybe, for lucky?
Sure, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, why not?
Although, I guess, yeah, we'd have to go hardest, then laminar.
Yep.
I think we have to. I don't think we can really optimize the guesses because of how this intersects, anyways.
Yeah. I mean, we could do we gotta do salvage.
Salvage. There we go. And now we have to go laminar. I mean, maybe we could have like slightly optimized this, but
Yeah. I sort of doubt it, since there are gaps now.
yeah, I mean, we could have done it in fewer guesses, but we might have been able to get some extra hints out of it.
Oh,
Maybe.
yeah, probably.
But not super important. Did we get anything new? It's still just E and R hints. Like, positive-wise, we haven't got nothing new out of this. Wait, A in the column is already there. Yeah, no, We got nothing out of that. That whole journey gave us nothing. And the worst part is there's no intersection, so we just have to guess
it did give us something. The G.
G? G.
And salvage. That gave us a hint, which is very important.
Oh, up there! I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Right,
that is a confirmed one as well.
Right, sorry. Not that it matters at this point, but...
Yeah.
Right, I didn't notice that. Okay, so it's... That's interesting. Because, again, these letters around the R. Like... Like, I wanna kind of low-key put an M there, but then I will have to put another vowel there, which probably doesn't... Right, like midge as an ending, like image, but also like a lot of French origin words have like an udge ending, so that would work, but it doesn't really. But then if we like, what do we put here, right? Like no P's, no B's, right? So that's sort of the obvious candidates out of the way.
Also, no double R.
Yeah, that would have been my
At
next
least not
idea.
in that spot.
Okay, so we can't have E, not that I would have wanted to have, but I mean we could technically still have A, I suppose, but I'm still not super believing in that. We could have T. No, we can't have T, sorry, my bad. Alright, it also says, right, because I'm on it right now. So anything that's grayed out doesn't work. So we are basically limited to Q, E, R, Y, O, A, D, F, G, H, J, L,
Acreage?
Z, X... What? Acreage?
Acreage? Yeah. ACREAGE.
Wait, so... Acreage...
Looks dubious. Yeah.
It feels so weird as a word, but I'm pretty sure it's a word. Like, it just... The spelling feels very dubious, as you said. But did we ever use an AC? Yes, we did. Okay, it's literally above this. Créage. I don't see any obvious problems with it.
Hell yeah.
Element. Yeah, if you spell it correctly, maybe it works. Element. There we fucking go!
Finally.
Alright, we had scratch, laminar, acreage, element, salvage, remorse, tinware, and hardest, which it sure as hell was. Well, maybe not hardest, but it was definitely up there.
Yeah, it was definitely hard.
It's actually convenient because we're doing Will You Press the Button as our second topic, which I could have gone straight to. Which we can do as many of as we want to. So we're not going to do
What is laminar flow? Like laminar flow, that's how it's spelled. Alright.
See, I knew a thing. Okay, this is a weird one to start off. You enjoy video games and find them fun again, but you will be terrible at them. I still enjoy video games time to time, and I am already bad at them.
Exactly. Would do nothing.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I will not, because at least I can improve if I want to. Yeah, this is a weird question because it assumes that you fell out of games. You gain the ability to see the future, but you lose the ability to remember the past.
That's a interesting one.
It's weird because if you think about it, it's like you're living your life backwards.
Exactly.
Because you remember the future, but you can't see the past. So as things happen, you forget about them. They become unknown to you. But you still know what's gonna happen. I mean, assuming it's just from your own POV, it's literally just like living your life backwards.
Yeah. And it wouldn't even give you any advantage.
Because you can't act on past information, right? So...
Yeah. I don't know,
And,
like you can't even really influence the future.
and that's always the
Like
thing about future
because for
stuff,
you
right?
the future would be the past, right?
Yeah, I think this is just reversing your perspective, which is intriguing, but not something I would really want to do. I'm
No.
almost kind of want to compare this to Tenet, which wasn't quite that,
Yeah.
but it also
It's
kind of is that,
similar.
right? Like,
Yeah.
because you are literally moving through time the other way around as everyone else. Now, you don't actually act backwards, which I don't know, God knows how that works with this one, but I feel like this is one of those things where
Hmm.
it's just too uncertain of how you would work that I'm never going to pick it.
Man, it. I'm trying to like conceptualize how transfer of information would be happening.
Yeah, right? It's like, I mean, I guess you could always, like, anything you want to remember, you could write it down, I suppose. I mean, this is weird because I feel like as time passes, you just lose information, right? Because as it moves from future to past. So you start out as when you press the button, knowing the most you're ever going to know. Because you know the future, but you don't know the past. So if you experience time the same way that we always do, it's like you just know the future, but you know less and less of it the further it goes along because it's no longer the future.
So you know what is also kind of a problem? So like the way I understand the world is that the future is set,
Yes.
at least from the physics point of view. It is very like it seems very likely to me that that is the case. So it would be like you're just like on a railroad. You know exactly what's gonna happen to you, and you just don't have any agency.
Yeah.
That's gonna suck.
Which is also why this might be physically possible to know the future.
Exactly, yeah, but
Although
man, the experience of it must suck.
there is the question of if you can know the future, like surely it's a thing that Alex said when about but like knowability, right? But it's like if you know the future, surely you would have to be able to alter it, right? Where it's um, like
Yeah, at that point, it becomes like a loop.
yeah, right. But it's like, oh, you're gonna go. Stanley went through the right door. It's like, well, now that you said that, I'm gonna go through the left door, right? But I would have already known
Exactly.
that I was gonna do that. Yeah, it's very knowing the future creates a lot of paradoxes, much like any form of time travel, which is arguably is. I will not. For the record, so it's just down to what you're gonna say.
I actually think I will.
Huh? Yeah, 26% said they would because it's weird. Let's do two more of them, and then go to the songs. You instantly learn Latin, but you forget the meanings of any slang terms invented after the year 2000. That seems like a win-win to me.
Exactly. I will press it instantly. Also, it doesn't say that you cannot relearn the slang
that was
terms.
what I was just about to say. Like I was just rereading it to double check, but yeah, it's like okay, that's I mean, realistically, it is a loss because it is going to be harder to understand
Yeah,
conversation. But you're gonna relearn all of the parts that are relevant to you. I mean, there are already people alive right now that don't know most of the slang terms after 2000, by which I mean
yeah,
older people. So like they get around fine. Instantly knowing Latin is just an upside. And I think it's easier to relearn the slang than it is to learn a whole new language from scratch, even if it is related to a language you already
exactly.
speak. But still, it's got to be. It's one of those where like
What?
I think people just forgot that they could relearn things,
Yeah.
and they're like,
Huh.
"I'm young and hip, otherwise I won't be on this website." And so So I need to know slang to be able to communicate. So yeah. One more. You gain the ability to see the future, but we just did that!
We just did that, yeah. Mm.
You'll be able to get out of any supernatural experience or terrifying experience with ease. Huh? But you'd have a common chance of having really bad nightmare each time you sleep. I guess terrifying experiences are real.
Yeah.
Because like there are no supernatural experiences. Like, what do you mean?
I don't think I will press the button.
Okay, so
I don't encounter terrifying experiences all that often.
I mean,
and having nightmares doesn't sound too good for your mental health on the long term.
I mean, I feel like I would be able to easily escape those nightmares. Yeah, no, I'm
How?
because I can experience because I can escape terrifying experiences with ease. No, that was no, I wouldn't.
Well, you see, you would just probably wake up.
Exactly. Then you go back to sleep and you have a nightmare again.
Yeah.
So, terrifying experiences tend to also be the most dangerous. Not strictly speaking, because humans are not always logical, but so I can see how this could allow you to live longer. But if you have nightmares like most nights, that's probably not going to be worth it. I will not reset. I almost pressed the button, which I didn't even mean to. Which is also probably why the results are skewed sometimes as well. I will not, and 52% of people also agreed, which is basically half. What is your song of the week?
Oh yeah, right. I do have one of those. So I wasn't 100% sure that I hadn't picked it before. So but I think I haven't picked it before. It's "I Don't Wanna Be" by My First Story.
Not bad.
Yeah, it was a song in like the Beat Saber tournament I participated
Naturally.
a couple months ago now. Yeah, I kind of liked it. It was really jammy, and yeah,
I do find it
that's why
interesting
it is
how.
here.
I mean, it makes sense. But I find it interesting how it's like, oh yeah, this was a Beat Saber tournament I played. It's like, yeah, that's a song. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I get songs from weird places as well sometimes.
Yeah,
It's obviously like our interests will sometimes find us new songs inadvertently, but it's just still kind of funny to me sometimes. I don't know why.
and I mean, like Beat Saber being like a rhythm game, having all to do with music, it kind of helps with that.
It kind of inherently is. Sometimes, for me, it would. I guess the most common thing there would be TV shows, right? Sometimes they play a song in the future. I'm like, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah,
There's a couple songs from that as well.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about this song, or?
Not really, no.
I guess that brings us
to everything I wanted.
My song of the week, which is "Jaywalker" by Mina Richmond.
You're running from yourself. Don't know where you belong. It is not this town. And all the streets you've seen these days, and all the people in your face, and all the hatred in your heart directed at yourself. All of it is gone. When the lights turn red and you begin to run.
It somehow feels less energetic right after your song.
And I like the vibe. So it was Jaywalker by...
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to put the artist as well. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
I mean, I think I said already. I somewhat recently discovered her, and she has a couple of good songs. There's not too much more to say about this. Which I guess already, I say, after 2.5 hours, brings the episode of Trash Talk Podcast to a close. If you like what you see, then leave a like. If you want to see more just like this, then subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you just want to say, leave a comment below. Sergej.
That's it?
That's it.